Alright, hey folks. So, I'm going to try something new here. I'm going to try and give you guys a daily bit of news slash opinion on what's going on in the world, whether it's movies, gaming, what have you. And if you guys like what I have to say, you can always hit that like button. If not, you know what to do. But the thing you can do to really help me out is you can always hit that subscribe button. I would like to hit 200 subscribers sometime, hopefully by the end of the month. If not, April will work just as fine. That's all good. I just thank you guys for listening and taking time out of your day just to hear a humble guy give his opinion on things out there in the world. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So it's March 21st, 2022, and we are 3 days away from Halo on Paramount Plus. Now, I'm going to admit, I played the first game for a couple of hours. I didn't finish it, and I never looked back. I have never really considered myself a big Halo fan. I do have most of the games. It's part of my ever-growing backlog. I'm not much of a first-person shooter guy, but I tried it. I gave it a shot. I will probably try it again maybe one day. I don't know if it ever falls into my lap out of my barrage of games that I have here. But nevertheless, I am excited to see the new show, just to involve myself with the whole universe. I've seen the books. I have enjoyed, what experience I had with it, the red versus blue. I've watched those over the years. So, I am excited, and hopefully the show will be pretty good. One thing that it's amazing that this actually made it to be on TV eventually, because I remember many years ago where the folks at Microsoft tried to bombard Hollywood to making a movie, and Hollywood just said, no, this is not how this works. And it's been in development hell ever since. But it looks like those guys were finally able to work something out. I remember it was attached to Spielberg, Peter Jackson, Neil Blomkamp. I mean, it was a bunch of craziness out there. But it looks like they were able to work things out, make a TV show, and let's hope it's true to the series. I won't know, and particularly, I'll probably watch a lot of reviews out there, but I will actually give my own personal take on it, on whether or not it seems to be a good and decent show. So we'll look forward to that. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say for that. But so before we get on today's news, it's a bit of a sad day here in the Geek Experience household. In case you guys didn't know, I live in the Atlanta area. I've been here for, over 25 years. I've been here for a long time. I was tried and true 49ers fan. I still am. But over the years, I have grown to love the hometown team. I go see the Braves from time to time. I go see the Atlanta United. But one other team that has grown on me over the years is the Atlanta Falcons. And, we had Michael Vick and that whole debacle. And after all that ended, we had Matt Ryan. And unfortunately today, the sad news came out that the Atlanta Falcons traded off Matt Ryan to the Indianapolis Colts. I know over the weekend they were trying to get Deshaun Watson. It didn't work out, but somehow, even though that didn't work out, they traded off Matt Ryan, and they traded him for a third-round pick. I don't understand the logic behind that. And then we went out and signed Marcus Mariota, who, for those of you who don't know, is the backup quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. So, Matt Ryan wasn't the best quarterback, but he was good. He was definitely a top tier quarterback, not elite, but top tier. He was serviceable, rarely, if ever, injured, good standing guy, never got into a whole lot of trouble. And, I really enjoyed watching him play for the most part. So, I'm kind of sad to see him go. And with this whole craziness, we went from a guy who was a top tier quarterback for the chance of getting I guess, an elite quarterback and all the baggage that came with him, but now we're to a backup quarterback and a third round pick, and we're still having to pay $40 million of Matt Ryan's salary. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but hey, that's why they pay those guys the big bucks. Apparently, they know what they're doing. If you say so, I don't know. Right now, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So anyway, I know you guys don't really want to care about that, but I just had to vent for a moment because I've enjoyed, watching that team over the years. It's had its share of bungles, especially that Super Bowl way back when. Anyway, it's gonna be hard to recoup from that. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say for that. All right, so on to today's news. So looks like the first thing is Nintendo had a new update. I think it was update 14.0. And I think the biggest takeaway from that is Nintendo has finally somewhat listened to all the complaints when it comes to Switch owners that have given this complaint out about, you want to look at your games, and, if you have a whole bunch of games and you go to the dashboard, it's almost impossible to find the games you're looking for. And one of the biggest complaints was, hey, can we have folders and what have you? And I play my Switch every once in a while. I don't have too many games digitally. I have more on my shelf. Back to that whole increasing backlog like I've mentioned before. And it looks like the folks at Nintendo finally listened. They have given us what are called groups. And the cool thing about that is it's basically folders. I was a big fan of the creating folders on my PlayStation 4. I could put games I've completed in one folder. I could put demos in another folder, and even active games and what have you. So I can easily find what's going on. Well, it looks like I said, on the Switch, you can do the same thing. And I went out there and I put in the update, and I was able to create groups, and I did the exact same thing. I put demos out there. I put the completed games out there. And, it's pretty cool. And one of the cool things is that you can put the same game in different groups. So if you have, let's say, a folder for Mario games and you have a folder for completed games, you can have the same Mario game in both groups. Now, as far as I could tell, the groups don't show up on the main dashboard. You have to go into the software section and then pull up the groups. So things still kind of look the same, but it kind of helps you sort things out if you are trying to find, if you have a lot of games on your Switch and you're trying to find something quick, you can go to the all software page, click the left button, you have your groups, boom, Bob's your uncle. So I thought that was pretty cool. It looks like Nintendo is trying to reach out, trying to say, hey guys, we're listening to you, and we're going to give you something at least close, and something's better than nothing. At least that's my thoughts. Hopefully we can get something better soon. And hopefully the folks over at Sony will let us do the same thing on the PlayStation 5. Right now I'm very annoyed every time I want to find a new game. And I've got to go through a huge list of games before I can finally decide on a new one. I'm still trying to finish up Horizon Forbidden West. I know the game's 4 years old, but I finally started playing it about a year ago, and I finally dedicated a lot of time to it recently, and I'm right at the almost at the end there. And so right now my biggest debacle right now is trying to decide what to play next. So if you have any suggestions, by all means, throw it out there in the comment section. With this one being such a huge open world, I'm trying to find something maybe something short and sweet. So I don't know, I'll figure that out soon enough. But anyway, all right, on to the next thing. So over the past few months, mostly 2021, looks like the nice folks between Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony have been playing the acquiring game, where everybody's trying to snatch up different studios to make them, exclusive to their own brand. And some have been bigger announcements than others. Obviously, we've had Microsoft, announced that they're acquiring all these studios, and the big one was a few months ago where they announced they were going to acquire Activision. I'll have to admit, it shocked the hell out of me. Uh, in fact, it was quite interesting. My son and I had, we were discussing about possibly buying some Activision stock because it was at a low of like what, $60, a little bit less than $60, and we knew, even though Activision was run by a bunch of meatheads, that they still had a solid, background of games with, Call of Duty and what have you. And we knew that the company had quite a bit of value. And we were thinking about buying a few stocks, nothing, too extravagant, but, maybe have a few shares. And then a couple of weeks later, all of a sudden the announcement came that Microsoft was going to buy Activision. Well, it looks like Sony and their ever, increasing of their PlayStation studios. I think, what was it, a few weeks or months ago, they announced they were going to acquire Bungie. Well, it looks like they're going to acquire a new studio, and this is going to be Haven Entertainment Studio. Now, what's interesting here, it's going to be the 18th studio to join PlayStation Studios, along with Guerrilla and, like I said, Bungie, and what are the other ones? Naughty Dog and Insomniac and what have you. Looks like Sony's going to be spending a little bit of money. But this studio is actually pretty new. Looks like it was started just last year in 2021. The guy who founded it, was working. I guess he founded a few other studios in the past, and he was working on, I guess, Stadia before that whole mess with Google decided to shut things down. Only a year or so after it came out. At what's pretty much the behavior of Google, and so this guy, started up a new studio. I forget his name, but he's based out of Canada. And so he started a new studio. He worked with Sony to start this new studio, and they were working on a new project. And I guess Sony was so impressed that they decided to go ahead and acquire the studio, I presume, relatively on the cheap. The details aren't out there on how much the studio was going to cost them. I presume maybe a couple $100 million at the most, because there was no games under the studio. But I guess they were so impressed with the work that they said, hey, if we snatch these guys up, we'll have something good here in the future. So yeah. So we have 18 studios under the PlayStation Studios brand. They're working on a new game. Obviously, we don't know what it's called or when it's going to come out. But so far, the biggest detail I heard is that it's going to be a live service game. And so far, everything I'm hearing in the world of live service games, things haven't come out too well. Lately, I think the most recent controversy is with Gran Turismo 7. Obviously, we had other ones recently with, Babylon's Fall and Marvel's Avengers, but those were Square Enix related. But, yeah, it's... I'm not a fan of the whole live service thing. Most of the games I play aren't live service, but at the same time, I could empathize with the complaints when it comes to live service, because ultimately, as a gamer, you want to play games. You don't want to feel like you're being strung along, with a carrot, dangled in front of you, and it becomes annoying when you're playing a game and you're given the parameters and configurations one day, and then you're playing along and all of a sudden everything has changed because all of a sudden the developers or the corporate minds want more money, with the endless amount of microtransactions. Perfect examples with Marvel's Avengers, and I think they nerfed a lot of the characters in order to make players play more hours. And everybody complained. And right now, the biggest complaint right now is Gran Turismo 7 and, the whole thing with purchasing cars and credits and what have you. And gamers aren't stupid. They know when they're being strung along for a ride. And, yeah, this is going to be the entire, the constant, between developers and gamers, because, developers spend a lot of money to develop these games. And, it's a business, they want to make some money, and unfortunately, practices like these will never look good. So anyway, hopefully we can find a happy medium. But one thing I will say is that a lot of people clapped and praised WB Games when they announced that Hogwarts Legacy were not going to have any microtransactions, because a lot of folks that was one of the first questions they asked when the game was announced. Was like, okay, where's the catch? And so yeah, there's a way for these things to work out, and hopefully Sony will find a way to make live service work, or hopefully they'll change their mind. We'll see. So yeah, Haven Entertainment Studio. Hopefully we'll get good things. We know a lot of the other studios make great things. Naughty Dog, Santa Monica, Insomniac, they make great games. Guerrilla makes great games. And so I presume these other guys will make great games as well. So we'll see in the near future. All right. So one other thing that came out, actually this came out Sunday, and it was quite a surprise to me because I hadn't heard that this was being developed, but all of a sudden there was a new trailer out on YouTube. And this was for Tekken Bloodline. We're actually getting I presume, a movie, an animated movie, or maybe even a TV show, an episodic TV show. Don't know too much about it, but it's based on the Tekken series. And it looks like it's based on Jin Kazama being trained by his mother. Wasn't it Julia or something like that? I haven't played the game in years. I know 7 is, I think, the most recent one, and I think the last one I played was 5, maybe. I don't know, but maybe I'll play the games just to catch up. But one thing I do remember is that a lot of those endings didn't make a whole lot of damn sense. I mean, what was the first game? June throws Heihachi down off a cliff, and somebody else throws somebody off into a volcano, and everybody else's endings were short of just nonsensical. So you kind of played the game for the fighting, and then you tried to maybe make sense of the endings. But there was a bit of a storyline there, and I know there were other animated movies out there, and don't even get me started. I think there was a live action movie out there. I'm trying to remember if I actually watched it or not. If not, I might give it a shot and watch it and give you guys my thoughts. But this one actually looks pretty interesting. One thing I will say about the folks at Netflix and their animated series, so far I have had no complaints with a lot of their TV shows. They had, I think there was Dota. I enjoyed that. There was Castlevania. I've enjoyed all of their episodes. I will even say, I think there was a Dragon's Dogma. Good show. So, and don't get me started on Arcane. Arcane was probably the best show I've watched all of 2021. And those things were all Netflix. And I have to say that the folks at Netflix or somebody over there when it comes to their animated properties, those guys are knocking it out the park. I think even The Witcher had an animated movie. It was like Brotherhood of the Wolf. That was good. So I have nothing but high expectations when it comes to this Tekken movie. I think it will be pretty good. And as far as I know, it's coming out in 2022, hopefully over the next couple of months. And once that comes out, I'll watch it and I'll give you guys my thoughts. But yeah, if you haven't had a chance to check out the trailer, go check it out. It looks pretty good. Like I said, it shows Jin Kazama, shows Heihachi, shows kind of the struggle that he's having, I guess, with that demon in him or that demon blood with him. So yeah, I'm actually pretty excited. I think that's going to be really, really cool. And if it's good, hopefully we'll get more down the road. So there's that. All right. So last bit, and then we'll end it for the day. Looks like we got another announcement in the world of let's talk about Netflix once again. So one of the shows out there based on the game is The Witcher. I've watched both seasons. They're pretty good. And, we wouldn't have this if it wasn't for the incredibly popular games made by CD Projekt Red. I haven't played Witcher 1, 2, or 3. I've watched a few people stream it. And this is going to be a recurring theme in a lot of my conversations here. I do have the games, and I will probably play them one day. I have Witcher 2 on my Xbox, and I have Witcher 3 for my PlayStation. And yeah, one day I'll throw those down and give it a shot. But we got an announcement as well today from the folks at CD Projekt Red, and they've announced a new Witcher game. They're saying, "Hey, we're gonna get a new Witcher," and here's basically the announcement that said, "Hey, as part of with the success of Witcher 2 and Witcher 3 that came out, what was it, in 2015, they have officially announced that they are developing a brand new Witcher series, and to add on to it, that this is going to be developed using Unreal Engine 5. They've created a partnership with the folks at Epic Games, and I guess they decided, hey, to move on to the next big thing, we need the next big engine. I think we all saw the Unreal 5 engine demo with the whole Matrix thing. I gave it a shot. I thought it was pretty impressive. A lot of the technobabble that it was trying to push on me, I didn't really think too highly of it. I just thought it looked really cool. I thought it had a lot of potential. I know a lot of games are made on Unreal Engine 4. I've had no complaints. I've enjoyed them. So Unreal Engine 5, hey, it looks all good. So I guess along with that they've announced that the previous technology that they were using, Red Engine technology, I guess that was used for Witcher 2, 3, as well as Cyberpunk 2077. They're no longer going to use that for the new Witcher game. They're going to go to Unreal Engine 5. So that's what it is there. And they've also said, well, they're still using the Red Engine for, I guess, a new upgrade for Cyberpunk 2077. And then I don't know if that's going to be it, but that's what I presume, because they're going to start using Unreal Engine 5 for development. So yeah, I mean, I think that's probably good news. We all know of the craziness that happened with Cyberpunk 2077 last year, the last 2 years, where it came out basically unplayable, even to the point where Sony stopped selling the game on their stores, on their online stores. Everybody was giving refunds left and right. And even the folks, the retail stores were, like I said, the retail stores were taking refunds, whether or not you opened them or not. And then, just to put, I won't say put the nail in the coffin, but I remember buying Cyberpunk 2077 for $10 at Best Buy. And the main reason I bought that was, one, it was $10, and two, I got a Steelbook case out of it, and my ever-growing list of Steelbook collection. But hey, I mean, one thing for the folks at CD Projekt Red, and I'll give it to them, they owned up to it. They've admitted that they screwed up. I thought the situation was going to end up a lot worse for them. I thought maybe they were going to end up being acquired by the big M out there, but so far they've been able to hold off, and they released a brand new patch, I guess a new visible upgrade for PlayStation 5 as well as Xbox Series X. And so far, from what I've watched from people playing the games and streaming them on YouTube, I guess so far it's working out a lot better for them. So hopefully they learned their lesson when it comes to developing, and not put I won't say all their eggs in one basket, but don't show us something that's not real. But we all know the truth. We all know that this industry is based off of hype and craziness. But maybe they learned their lesson. We'll see. But that kind of brings me to my prediction when it comes to this announcement of the next Witcher game. I don't know if it's going to be called Witcher 4 or Witcher Electric Boogaloo. We'll see. But my prediction is that with this announcement of the next Witcher series, is that it's not going to come out until 2027. I'm going to say 5 years is when we're going to see it. I mean, when they announced Cyberpunk 2077, I think they announced it in 2012, and it took them 8 years. I'm going to say it's probably going to be somewhere along that. We're not going to see anything until minimum 2000 for another 5 years, 2027. That is my prediction. I could be wrong. They could have been well into it. I don't know. But I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to come out in the next year or so. And if I'm wrong, more power to them. But I honestly think it's going to be quite a while. And we've seen this over and over where, with Batman came out, 2015? We're going on 7 years. And it just got delayed again. Metroid Prime 4 was announced years ago. And so a lot of these games, especially if it's supposed to be big and engaging and open world and all this other stuff, it's going to take quite a long time. So that is my my overall guess, is that we're not going to see anything concrete for any time soon. So that's going to lead to my question of the day. When do you think the new Witcher game is going to be released? Do you think it's going to be within the next 5 years, or do you think it's going to be over 5 years? Let me know. Post in the comments below, and we can have a nice little discussion there. So, anyway, that's it for me. Think I've said all the things I've had to say. That was everything I saw announced out there, and wanted to share with you guys. Did you guys see anything new out there that I didn't bring up? Post in the comments below. Let me know. So we can always have a discussion. I'm more than willing to talk to you guys. And like I said, that's it for me. If you like what I had to say, always hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to hear more of what I have to say, by all means, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Like I said, I'm going to try and post something as often as possible. And like I said, we're on the road to 200 subscribers. So every time you hit that subscribe button, an angel gets his wings. It's all good. All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. I know it's been quite a bit of a long-winded session, but hopefully we can all have good times, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.